Welcome, everybody, to Breaking the Silence. You have a voice. I am your host, Lady V, and boy, we have an exciting, juicy topic tonight. We're going to be talking about the black man, the black woman. It's a thin line, y'all, between love and hate. I thought about it because I had been having some conversations with my husband and just us conversing over the last few weeks because we missed a couple of weeks in February and we were supposed to be dedicating it to Black History Month. But I was like, what's really the deal? First I started to do, what men really want in women. They don't want to be honest. And then, what women really want out there, man, we don't want to be honest. So I was like, okay, went back and watched that movie. And I was like, okay. Somewhere in all of us have experienced the thin line where it's been some kind of love and hate relationship. So I want to talk about it tonight. But before we start, I want to welcome all of our Caribbean jammers and YouTube and Facebook and Instagram. And I think in just a couple of weeks, y'all, we're going to be on TV. So welcome, welcome, welcome. But before we start our show, I want to introduce my other host. We have the beautiful, most amazing, and I love her dearly because I look just like her, and I'm a namesake because I get my own name, I got hers. But Dr. Yvonne Bennett, how you doing tonight, Mom?
I'm doing well. I've been busy this week, but I'm doing well.
Doing good. Very well. Why it always look like you getting younger?
I guess staying busy. I haven't had a chance to look old because I've been so busy.
All right. And we have Pastor Melanie Butler. How you doing there, beautiful?
I am doing well.
We missed you last week.
We were on our mini vacation.
Oh, that's right. I forgot. You go on that. Okay. How was it?
Oh, we love New York.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. New York is always popping, so always something to do there.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
And we have Pastor A.T. What's going on?
Not much. Truth and Lindy, I'm having some technical issues, so I guess y'all can see me, but I can't see y'all. So that may be good.
We can see you.
We can see you.
Good. Because I can't see anything right now. So it's probably good because if I say something and y'all have crazy facial expressions, I won't be able to see them. But no, I'm doing well, making it other than this little technical glitch that I hope fixes itself very soon.
Okay. If you got to pop out and pop back in, just hurry up.
Yes, ma'am. I'll do that then.
All right. And last but not least, we have Dr. Isaac. How you doing?
What's going on? I'm doing well.
I like y'all got some. I'm mad because I don't have no jazzy background. Mom got just got a picture. I got a picture. Then the guys, they all jazz up like they on some kind of Steve Harvey show or something. Y'all have to give me the hookup.
Can do. I'll email you.
And Dr. Isaac, he got his microphone and everything looking like a real talk show host.
Yes. The studio is almost finished.
Okay.
Almost finished.
Right. Well, my studio is almost finished too. It's in my dinette set in the kitchen.
You can do it from anywhere now.
Woo, yes, that's it. That's what we do. But so what do y'all think? Okay, we talked about this critical race theory, and we talked about, some of the bad things that we probably inherited that causes our race of people to be the way they are. But the bottom line, in all this reality, it starts with the man and the woman. It starts with the African American man and the African American woman. And unfortunately, we still have the highest divorce rate. We still have the highest, according to society and the census, we still have the highest breakups and can't seem to get it right. So I'm open the floor. Anybody jump in there?
Sure.
Sure.
Since I'm a professional at this topic,
Go for it.
No, you are not. But go
Uh,
ahead. I think I got you.
uh,
Top. Go ahead.
I think you got me beat though. So, um, I don't think that our divorce rate has anything to do with our race. I don't think that any divorce has anything to do with our race. I think that what it actually boils down to is depending on what's the cause of the divorce. Some people, I feel that this is my personal opinion. I
Okay.
feel anything outside of being abused can be rectified. Um, because when abuse happen, that's a whole nother level. But anything outside of abuse, I believe any marriage is is reconcilable. I can say what has been the cliche is that black folks don't like to go to counseling. That's no
Mhm.
longer a cliche. Um, it's still is it is it still relevant in some circles? Yes, it's still relevant in some circles. But our divorce rate comes because two people got upset with each other and they focused and they stayed centered on the issue than
Mhm.
trying to get to the they're not trying to get to the source of what the problem is. Every problem has a source and you have to find what the source is. So until you get to the source is you will continue to focus on what that negative thing is without trying to make the positive without trying to find the positivity of why are we here.
But when you say the source, are we talking about the source or are we talking about learned behavior? Because we talked a lot about learned behavior and things that we
Mhm.
pick up. So let's talk about some of the things that and again, we're gonna keep it real because I think that that's one of the biggest problems is we have shared it, all of us have talked about it. I'm sorry, I'm sharing the show. But I think that a lot of it has to do with how we were reared, what the
Okay.
things that we saw. Because when you look at, and I'm just talking about our race of people,
Mhm.
because um, when you talk about the respect of black men and black women, even in every aspect, you don't see it a lot. The African American women are accused of being super dominant. Black men are accused of being super lazy or super passive. And in a lot of households, you do see the woman being the dominant one. And you don't you may see it in other races, but you don't see it as much. So even before there's a marriage, and you see it a lot now, there is so much independence that goes on with us. It's like, I can do it all. I can work. I don't need a man. This
Okay.
is this is what a lot of women are saying. So I'm trying to find out, where's the breakage? Where is the disconnect between?
Okay. Well, let's start. Let's start here. Okay. So we can go back when all of us were in the 70s, except for Tyra. Uh,
I was in the
but
late ones, late 70s.
but let's go back to the 70s. Who was the only one that was working really back then? The man of the house was the only one really working back then. It was a more traditional home where that the mother um, did all the rearing while the father was out. The father, when their father came home, he did all of the um, disciplinary whenever that he came home. Then, starting in '80s, the world began to transition where a lot of women started where a lot of women started going out of the house to work. And then in the '90s, it picked up. In the 2000s, it's superseded, right?
Mhm.
Then now that you're working in more of two working households now, um, I don't think that it's an issue with a woman being at home and being in control at home. because I believe that everybody play their and I hate to use the term roles, but um it's always said that a woman makes makes the house a home. That's always and I still believe that that is true today. Even with the independent woman, a woman that doesn't know how to cook now, a woman that's that's really going out and the woman that's an executive, even if she is at that level, um, she still can make that house a home. Um, and it just goes to the time. I also believe that a man can make a house a home too by certain things. Um, is he doing the extra three P's? Is he providing, protecting, praying for his family? Is he making sure that all of the maintenance in the house is done? And not saying that's a man's role, because sometimes there are women out there that's very good at doing that themselves. Um, so I don't think that it has anything to do with that. I really think that the amount of divorces that are happening, it is because of a disconnect. And that disconnect is from how that each of us was raised, and then how that we communicate. Again, outside of abuse, we're not talking about that, but outside abuse, anything else, it's about it's about finding what their source is, and it's about having those hard conversations and going back, to where the source of the problem, and that source of the issue, it may be you finding out, hey, why did I do this as a child? I'm noticing that this has followed me through my adulthood.
Right.
All right, so I think we need to really clarify abuse, because sometimes there's physical abuse, and then there's other times there is emotional abuse.
Emotional, verbal.
Yeah, and so exactly, and there's a lot of men who suffer through that. You want to know why sometimes black men don't gravitate to black women? Sometimes they can't find unity. They can't find themselves to be a leader if somebody else is already trying to lead. If you say I don't need you, and some of that is society, because in the 1960s they made it easier for a man to not be in the household. So the government came in and gave you a little stipend, and so you said I don't need a man as long as I keep popping out these children. Isaac, I would say this. I believe it started in the 1970s with the feminist movement. The manifestation of it was in the 1980s. And as a community, the African American community have gravitated towards that.
Mhm.
To me, the reason why couples don't work together is, one, based off of what I'm looking at in scripture, people don't consult God before they find a mate, and they don't know what their future is, and they pick somebody for what they have right now based off what they're dealing with, what they look like and what they feel like, but not knowing their future. And so the person, you grow one way, the other person grows another, and they become distant. The other thing is, culturally speaking, if the woman or the man has been taught a certain way to how to treat their wife in a negative perspective, it can be an issue. So if your wife wants to be fussing and talking about this is how I am, then change how you are, because I'm not a child. So don't talk to me like a child. The moment you start fussing at me like I'm a child, you take me out of my place. The moment you say I got it and I can do it, you don't need to be the father. That's a problem. That's a problem, because God has set everybody in their proper assignment. Since we don't want to use roles, their proper assignment, as far as the structure of the house. The other thing that I look at is all roles can be, house roles can be done by other people. There's no such thing as a man job or woman job as far as
Mhm.
the maintenance of the house. If
Exactly.
you cook better than I cook, okay, then go for it. You don't want me sitting there burning water, burning the stove, burning pots. And if I can't cook, if you budget the bills better than I do, let me have the oversight over it. But let us, because sometimes, and I heard this in training, we say, I'm the man, I'm supposed to be the one in charge of all the money and all the bills. But you are not good at math. So why would you, and balance it, why would you do that? So people do stuff based off of societal rules and what they're told to do, and not working off their strength. If you found somebody to work has a strength that is your weakness, that's two becoming one. And that's the problem when we do stuff and it causes confusion. So I'm gonna leave it at that, and I'll come back.
I agree. It's all about people, a man and a woman, of course, Find out the reasons why you fell in love with each other in the first place. What was it about me? What was it about him that I fell in love with? And then what ends up happening is that people end up having outside affarances that comes in to disrupt the relationship, the home, and then they begin to take their focus off of their loved one, their responsibilities, and begin to put it on the outside source. And so here it is, you have a distraction that becomes a part of the relationship. And so when you take your focus off of that and put it on something else, then of course, that's where your attention is going to be. And people always say, well, I fell out of love with them, or I don't love them like I used to. Well, we all grow and develop in different ways. And so instead of growing with one another, we expect that person to be how they were when they first met. And that's not how it always is. We grow. I'm not the same person that I was when Pastor met me, and he's not the same person. Because as we grow in the relationship and in life, things begin to change. And what happens is instead of growing together, people begin to grow apart. And so here it is. Oh, well, I don't love them anymore. Or, well, what is it about them? Why you fell in love with them in the first place? And then instead of getting back to dating or working through issues and problems, it's easier to say, I don't throw up your hands. I don't want to deal with this. I'm out. And that's the easy way because people are not willing to work through difficult times and situation. So it's easier to quit and run. That's why you have a lot of runners. You have a lot of quitters because I don't want to deal with it. Well, in life, we have to learn how to deal with difficult situation. We have to learn how to deal with problems and work through it. But like I said, and in our culture, it's quick to say, girl, you ain't got to put up with this, and different things that our parents may have instilled with them. Hey, honey, if he ain't treating you right, honey, leave him. You can go to somebody who can treat you better. And sometimes when you go to that, it's worse than what you ended up with. It's like, man, I should have stayed where I was at. But we are taught to don't put up with it instead of work together and work through it.
Problem solving, those type
I
things.
want to add something to that. I think that one of the things what people fail to realize when whether it's marriage or whether you meet someone and you begin a relationship causes exposure.
Yes.
So when you first meet a person, you all you see
Hiding.
is bright lights. That's all you see. You see bright lights. And what does bright lights do? They
Blind
can
you.
fog, they blind you because you can't really see through the bright lights. So if you're ever on the stage and you have the bright lights on, you're looking out, you're really not seeing all of the faces out there that's taking place. But when the lights go off and now the exposure takes place, you looking and you like, oh, okay, you looking at me? Oh, because now what happens is it becomes a reality that some point in time, and I hate when people say representative because it's not really a representative because it's really you, but at the same time, relationship causes exposure. I may not have seen all of your ways. I may not have heard some of the things that I hear now, and you said something, we grow together so that now it's not that, oh, you changed and you're not the person I fell in love with. No, I am. But now you're seeing me in all of my flaws. You're seeing me in all of my things that you may not have seen before because you was looking at all of the beautiful things and you didn't see
care.
Right, and so a lot of
They
times
doing
we
other
get
stuff.
frustrated, but then also someone said we need to make sure who we get with. And somebody in Tyrone said, your mother said this. You need to make sure who you get with is not somebody else's.
Ooh.
Because it could be somebody else's wife or husband that you getting with. and you're wasting that person's time because you didn't really consider the whole picture. So now you went and married that person, you wasted their time, you spent time with them, you had children with them, and you never really wanted to be with that person after maybe about 2-3 months, but you really got with somebody that should have been with somebody else.
And see, and that's my point. People, and we talked about this, people misinterpret that scripture over and over again. The proper context is for the person to go to their father and not their natural father in that context to figure out what is best for the son. Nobody knows what is best for the son more than the father, who can see the vision and where he should have. In our case, spiritually, we should go to God, but we don't ask God those questions. Nope. And that because God knows that he hiding stuff. God knows that she hiding stuff. God knows you got the deer in the headlight look, and that's all you can see, and that you can't see that her credit bad, and that she got some kids or some things going on that you didn't know about, but she gonna wait till after y'all get real good and show it to you, and then see if you love. God knows all that he ain't really about what he's doing, and that he abusive and don't know how to talk to people, and that he got some issues and skeletons and baby mamas in his background, but he ain't said that to you. God knows that. And so we don't consult God first. We do what we want to do and ask God to put the cherry on top later on. But when that junk is a hot mess with a cherry on top, a bunch of poo-poo steaming, then you sit there and you want him to fix it. Lord, fix it. And then you say, I don't want it. That's the whole point, that we never really consult God. And so therefore, that's the reason why the divorce is high, just as high in the church as it is outside of the church. And as Pastor Mel said, people have decided that they only have one life to live on this planet, and they're not going to put up with this stuff. Which brings me to my last point. Love is a choice. And I wrote about it when I had my anniversary, and it was just a revelation to me that I choose to love my wife. She chooses to love me, so we stay together. The whole point, that's the case, is because there's a whole bunch of people in our past that we were so in love with that ain't there anymore. That we don't love them the same way we used to, but at that moment in time, we chose to love them, which means if we choose to love, we can choose to take it away. So you cannot take that for granted. And sometimes in relationships, that's what happens. People get married, they say, I do, and then they don't do a whole bunch after they get married because you're supposed to love me. Okay, I got a choice in this matter. I can go. So don't take my love for granted and what I'm trying to give you for granted. And so those are things that we can take advantage of in the African-American community as well. Can I just say one other point, since I feel like I'm rambling a little bit? One of the things that I had when I was growing up, my dad had told me, and hopefully he ain't watching this. We were in El Paso and we were driving, and he says, what do you notice? It's like a Saturday or whatever. He says, the Caucasian women are helping their husbands outside wash the vehicle. He says, you don't see that in the African-American community. The African-American woman thinks that it's the job of the husband to do that. Well, it also works in the household. Well, now they're not cooking and not cleaning. The problem is we don't come together as a partnership. I'm not trying to compete with you. There's so much competitive nature. You act like if I get ahead, you behind. But if we're one, if I get ahead, you with me.
That's right.
So the problem is, and the reason why we have this disconnect is because when we get together, we're not unified. We don't come together in love and unity. We don't see the big picture that we're trying to create an empire. You're trying to do your vision. I'm trying to do my vision. Hopefully my vision covers the whole family. And it's a hot mess if you can't get everybody on the same team to move in the same direction.
Well, hear what Dr. B got to say.
Dr. B?
Yeah, please.
I'm listening to everybody, and I agree with everything that you're saying. One of the things that I wanted to say with regard to what Dr. Isaac said, a lot of African Americans are not willing to sit down in counseling. I believe the way you start out is the way you're going to end up. There's a lot of things that go unattended to. Now, you're not going to see everything, like Lady B said. You're not going to see everything. You're not going to see some of those quirky things, some things that may be minor, but then some things are major. But in the African American, especially with African American women that have to work and be part of the budget feel that they are just as much man as the man. They don't feel that I can't I can't just come home and work if I'm gonna work and just do what I want to do. A lot of African American women feel that way. They are part of the budget. So they feel if I'm part of the budget, then I should be part of everything else. Now, let's go to scripture. God said man shall work by the sweat of his brow. So that makes him the protector of the home. Now, if a woman agrees to that, if she agrees to working and helping and do this thing, a lot of this 50-50 thing is going on in these marriages today. If you agree to that, then you need to stick with that commitment. Don't get to the nail shop and talk to Betty Boo Boo and find out that she don't have to work, because that causes conflict in a lot of marriages. I'm confronted with it every day. They come home and they say, well, so-and-so, and especially in the church, sister so-and-so, she worked because she want to. Why am I doing this and so? Well, it's because you agreed to that. If you agree to whatever you agreed to, then you should follow through with it. If you're not going to agree with it, it should be said before you sign that I do. And this is a major problem in African American marriages today, because what I hear, women, God never told a woman that she had to have 3 jobs. She has children, that's 1. If she has a husband, that's 2. And she's working, that's 3. And the man comes home and, he's working and he can put his feet up, and women are running around and the frustration is there. Why am I doing all this? I'm cooking, I'm cleaning. Now I got to take care of your needs, and I got to do this and I got to do that. They get frustrated because in their mind, in their psychic, they feel that they're doing more than the man. And before you know it, it's a blow up.
So anybody want to read this?
I can't even read all that.
Why your man writing this long book?
Hey, Derek, you got to break that down. Derek.
So he said, I'm not a reverend or a minister, so I can't quote any scriptures on this. The common people just need to spend some time together to read each other's book. And he always says that. He says, you got to read the book. You got to take the time out to look at the person and know the person that you're with. Time and your understanding of who and what you want will help you decide on the person you want. Spend time together to know each other through the things you like to do. I like riding horses, so my woman has to enjoy horses. You must have things in common without changing the other person. Then you will like each other at the least.
And that's true. And all of that's true. And that's exactly what I'm saying. You got to start out that way. When you start out that way, then you can follow through. But a lot of people don't start out that way. Like a Lady V said, they see the lights. And when you see the lights, you get blinded by other stuff. You put it, you kick it to the curb. Like, oh, I could deal with that. Or I could deal with this. Like some people will say, I never want to marry a person that drinks. Now you find out that the person drinks, or the person smokes, or the person does this, or the person does that. And now you're going to try to stop that person from doing what you agreed to. You gotta know something. Some things you have to know up front. And the only way you're going to know that is spending time. Quality time.
Yes.
And what I wanted to add to what you were saying, which you're right. And what happens is there's times when you're dating a person and you see red flags. You see things, but what we tend to do is omit it or push it aside and say, oh, I can deal with that, or I'll change them. You have a hard time trying to change yourself. And so here it is, when you get married, what you said, oh, I'll deal with later, now it's a problem.
Yes.
Well, you saw it when you were dating. There are some flags that it is clear cut. And instead of running, we don't. We dive. It's like you're headed for a wreck.
Here we go. You ready?
And you see the wreck, but you're like, nah, I can deal with it. I can deal with it. But head-on collision. And this is what happens. And you are absolutely right, Dr. Bennett, because there's somebody I know who in their marriage in the beginning, they always served their husband and prepared the plate. Made dinner, here you go, here's your plate. Well, now it's like 35 plus years, and guess what? They're tired of doing it. I would well, that was something that you started. Here it is. If you set expectations in the
Mhm.
beginning,
They should be
then you're
continued.
going to have to continue unless you say, this is something that I used to do,
Yeah.
but how about A, B, C, D? There's
Right.
sometimes, okay, how about this?
There's always
Sometimes
compromise.
you got to come
Yeah, but there's
together and,
growth. People change.
Yes.
but you're right.
You know what? Let
But
me actually make this statement, and I know that this is going to be um it's going to go against what popular belief is, and I want you to hear the principle in this first. The principle: it does not take God for a marriage to work.
no, that's true.
It takes two people with the same mind and the same goal to make that marriage work.
Yes.
But when you add God, God is the shrink wrap
Mhm.
to the relationship. He
Mhm.
comes in, he comes in and he seals it, and he's there to keep the bond tight. And even though that God is there to keep the bond tight, the moment that the two people have separate minds and they start going separate ways, is the reason why the separation of the two happen. But as long as you are of one mind, the marriage will always work. And Vaughn, let me correct you on one thing. I was looking at stats, um, and all the stats I looked at, they all reference back to 2018 for whatever reason why I don't know.
Okay.
Um, according to 2018, 32.1% of our whites are married, 15.1% are divorced. Um, for the blacks, 17.3% are married, 30.8% of that is divorced. Hispanic, 18.5% is married. I'm sorry, 33.2% is married, and of that, 18.5% gets a divorce. And the other races, it says 36.6% are married, and of those, 12.4% get a divorce. So, but when you look at the ratio, Hispanics get more divorces than blacks do.
Wow.
Yeah. All right.
And the thing that
Yeah.
I do want to say is when you talk about and it's something that I think Derek said, reading the book, you gotta look past those blinders. You gotta really take the time out. The one thing that I think kills all relationships is the lack of communication.
Yes.
Sometimes we do not want to be, no matter how much it hurts,
Mhm,
we I can't be with someone that's not going to keep it real with me. You
mhm,
know, if you when you get together and your relationship is built on secrets and lies and you don't know really what you're getting into, that's where the disconnect takes place because you may not have known these things. Now, I'm not talking about cooking and cleaning. I'm talking
Mm-mm.
about the real deal. I'm
yeah,
talking about
yes,
the insecurities that you knew that you had. I'm talking about the anger issues that you knew that you had. I'm
Right.
talking I'm talking about the attitudes that you knew that you had, the difficulties. I'm not talking about money and all of that. I'm talking about the things that are really causing relationships to break up because people get together and it's all wonderful and we're laughing and we're talking and we're getting along. And then all of a sudden, somewhere down the line, you snap at me or I snap at you. And I'm like, well, where did that come from? I didn't know you had anger issues. I didn't know that
mhm,
you had these mood swings and these attitudes and all of the things that come along with these relationships, the insecurities. You have men that don't even know that their wives have been sexually molested or raped. And so they got sexual issues because they failed to tell you the real deal. If you got to tell the real deal when it comes to things like that. You can't hold that back. Oh, well, I don't I don't feel comfortable in you touching me. What do you mean you don't feel good in me? Feel right about you touching? And that's for real. You have a lot of people that go into these blinded relationships, and now they're looking crazy. I didn't know you had these addictions. Well, you didn't read the book. You didn't really, really spend the time asking the person, what do you really do? Like, what am I really getting myself into? I don't want, we gotta stop with the secrets. And that's why I said the thin line between love and hate, because when you look at the movie, he didn't know she was crazy.
Yeah, he was cuckoo. Yeah.
She was cuckoo. She
Yeah.
really was. He made a decision that once he said, what happened to your last relationship? I murdered him. Hello. Now all of a sudden he like, hold tight, wait. Because that's something that maybe should have been discussed first, second, third date. But you done spend time with this person. You done found out some real detrimental stuff. We got to stop getting with people and finding out the detrimental stuff that's going to kill us or damage us because we didn't ask questions. We so in la la land till we not really talking about the stuff that matters.
And another thing that really causes divorce in any race, people have not been healed from a prior relationship. That means you take all that hurt over into the new relationship, and now you're looking for this new person to heal you, to fix it all, and it's not good. It's not good. You need to give yourself time to heal, and you need to make sure, like Derek said, you need to read the book. You need to read the whole book. Don't skip pages, whatever you do. And don't be so desperate. I just went through that this morning with in a crisis client. She is very, 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 very needy. And she was married. She is married, getting a divorce, and she slipped in, started a relationship because her and the husband separated. Now she wants to go back to the husband, Pastor Mel, to try to make that relationship work, and told that to the boyfriend. Well, it didn't work. Now she wants to flip back over to the boyfriend. What do you think that's going to make him feel like?
Exactly.
It's not going to work. It's not going to work.
And this is what I was going to say. And this is what people do when they get into a marriage. The first thing they already think about, if this doesn't work out, we can always divorce.
Yep.
Why is it that the first time they get into an argument, oh, you want a divorce? Why is that always there?
Oh,
It shouldn't be. It should not be. And then the other thing I was going to say too, so here it is, you go into a marriage with the expectation of it possibly not working, we can divorce. So you have already, you have that percentage of the marriage failing and I'm not going to work it out. The other thing too is we say these vows at the time that we're at the altar, but a lot of times people don't even hold true to the vows. One thing I think about, okay, in sickness and in health, there are times where a spouse gets sick and that other spouse is like, I didn't sign up for this. Yes, you did.
Yes, you did. That's right.
Yes, you did.
Yes.
Because none of us know what sickness may come upon us or the spouse, and you may have to be that spouse caretaker.
That's right.
Oh, I didn't sign up for this. Yes, you did. And and there's times where people, oh, they're sick. Oh, I'm cutting and running. But you're going to cut and run. But who's to say down the road, you're not going to get sick and somebody may have to take care of you.
That's right. And Pastor Mel, I want to add to that sickness and in health, that sickness is not always physical.
That's true.
That sickness could be sick of you.
Oops.
Yes. I'm sick of you, but in sickness and in health. So you have to deal with that spouse because they're sick of you. It's still a sickness.
Yeah.
Well, see, the
You
thing
know,
is
I'm gonna
something. Go ahead, Doctor Isaac.
Uncle Isaac. Yeah, you're right. Not just kidding.
I'm sick of you.
um,
Oh
I'm
my
gonna have
goodness.
a small disagreement with Derek's comment when he said that the younger, what he said,
The younger generation, the
yeah, the
younger
younger
people.
generation. Why did my camera just go off?
Immediately to get their problems fixed, so they have to go by examples. So, what are some suggestions to get the younger people to stay together? Okay, that's good.
That is because to get the younger people, because younger people, that generation, their mindset is totally different. Go ahead, Dr. Isaac.
Yes. Okay. So this is where I disagree with uh with Derek at. It's not even about praying. Uh it's about having a committed resolve to and have a committed um plan. Hey, when we get to this point, let's make a plan now before we get there that this is how that we're going to handle this. You have to have a plan. And that's why I love how the word tell us to have vision, right? And that the reason why you need to have vision because you have a vision for forecasting things that you may not be aware of or things that you may not even know that's gonna happen. We always make plans on how that we're gonna do A, B, C, D, E, F, G, but how about the plan of when we get to the point to where that we're about to go at each other's neck? Have a plan in place to say when we get here, this is how that we're going to handle this, and we have to be committed to handling this. Um, Now again, the success of a marriage is based on the two people that's in the marriage, nothing else, just those two people. And then even when one of the other breaks a covenant, it still has a point of restoration. You have to have a resolve to get to that point to where you say that this is how I'm going to handle this situation. Now, when we bring the Christian aspect into it, um I can't say what I want to say because that's going to come out in my lesson on our Sunday. But but when you have two Christians that actually go through a divorce, 9 times out of 10 it's because the fact that one or both failed to come to the table to properly communicate what the issue is.
Mhm, mhm.
Well, I'm gonna say because I'm gonna answer his question to what I think it is. I think that because I used to always ask myself in my relationships with my friends. Now I'm talking about my inner circle.
Hmm. Hmm.
I'm talking about my ace boon coon that I hang out with and I can talk to and I can communicate with and I can do things with and I want to do things with my friend. So I think one of the biggest problems is when we get in relationship, we don't establish a friendship above everything. See, when you're my friend, I may not be feeling you today. That's why I say Derek is my friend. He's my boyfriend. Because sometimes, husband can be a little boring. Wife can be a little boring. But my boyfriend, I like my boyfriend. I want you to be my boyfriend today. I want you to be my friend today because my friend could go and kick it with me and we go play some pool and we'll talk smack, we'll tease each other. You know, your friend is a person that you can let your hair down and you can truly be yourself. If you don't have an established friendship in the relationship, that's going to be a problem because then all we have is a husband and wife title. I love you, you love me, we Barney. But that's it. It's not a friendship. Like it and it has to be anything. Like I know the other night we were up at 2:30 in the morning and we discovered a cartoon app. And we sit there, we just making for no reason at 2:30 in the morning. And we waking up the parents because we're sending it to them because we think that the parents should be excited about what we're excited about. So we done made some cartoon characters of ourselves, and then started making cartoon characters of the kids and cartoon characters of dad. And I'm sending, not realizing that, you know what, it really is 2:30 in the morning and the other people in the world asleep. But
Yeah,
we're
that's
just
when she
having
sent us
such a
the email at 2:30 in the morning. Yeah.
but see, for younger people, they understand that because you understand that's my homeboy, that's my homegirl. That's what your mate needs to be. Your mate needs to be your friend. Bottom line, it needs to be where when I'm not feeling it, this is the person I can come to. This is the person I can talk to. I don't want you to give me the wife because a lot of times and women struggle with this. When our men come to us and they have something to say, we go in mother mode, we go in wife mode, we want to give advice, we become counselors,
Mm.
we all of a sudden, okay, let's sit down and let's have a come to Jesus, let's pray. And all he want to do is he want his friend to just sit there and chill with him and listen to what he has
Yeah.
to say.
But Avi, but also understand this. If you are a person that dismisses your friends, you're gonna
No.
do the same thing. No, I'm just saying, if speaking in general, if you are a person that dismiss your friendships, then you would dismiss your marriages too. Your marriages, your marriage as well. Because what does having a friendship to teach us? A friendship teaches is that is that you and I are going to have some type of a difference. You and I are going to have a level of disagreement. You and I are going to get angry at one another. But if you're willing to fight through those issues as friends, then when you enter a relationship, it becomes much easier to work through things, as long as you don't forget that, hey, this is my friend. We're gonna have our differences, but we're not gonna let these differences dictate the level of our friendship. And but when you are a person that practice dismissing friends and not hearing their side of the story, then that becomes habitual, and you take that into your marriage. And then when you get married, you then now practice the exact same thing that you've always done, is dismissing friendships and dismissing
But
the other person's side.
I can say for me, and I only have maybe 3 close friends. I don't fall out with my friends. I really don't. I ain't never really been a person that argue with my good friend. But now we don't have to agree on everything.
Right.
But I don't really typically. I had to think about it. I don't argue with my friends now.
Hmm.
So I had to go back and look at my previous relationships. Why didn't they work? Why didn't it work? This just for me, because you know I'm the expert above you, Dr. Isaac. They wasn't my friend. I didn't like them like that. And so I didn't make a conscious effort like I did with my friends to really, really listen and to care enough to care about what they cared about. Now, my current day, in case y'all didn't know, Derek calls my husband, I'm Yvonne Hall. Anyway, so we don't argue. In all honesty, we do not argue because we have a level of respect and friendship where do we agree on everything? Probably not. But I don't have anything to argue with him about because he's my friend. So even in the craziest, funniest, whatever thing he does, I'm like, oh, yeah, okay, that's funny. That's all right. Because that's what I would do with my friend.
But I think it all boils down to when you talk about friend in a relationship. When you meet a person, you can't be so quick to think falling in love. You got to like that person first.
Yeah.
Do I like you? Do I like you? I need to like you. I need to be around you enough to know whether I like you. Because if I don't like you, if things turn me off and you're honest by saying things that I do turn you off, then we automatically know that we're starting out on a bad foot. So
Um,
you have to like that person. You have to like being around that person. And Pastor Mel said something from the beginning. What attracted you to that person? Something had to attract you to that person that even caused you to open your eyes and have that twinkle and that little flicker in your heart. Get to like the person first. If you don't like that person, don't go any further. You have to wait, because I promise you, love will not come after. Because
Say it.
years
I
later,
mean,
it's going to come up.
Anybody want to?
I never liked you in the beginning.
Right.
Right. So,
I'm
has anybody want to answer this question? Has
Yeah.
any of you ever been around anyone and wanted to be an example of a good relationship to them? What did you do?
Yes.
Yes,
Yes.
yes,
Yeah.
absolutely, absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
First,
Oh,
I
joy.
can, I can honestly say this now. My Bess and I have a great friendship. And and the amazing part is that we've met married couples that be like, you guys are a perfect example of what friendship should be, because we goofy together. We
Is this
straight.
your? You said your Aunt Bessie.
I said,
Betty, him and Betty.
no, 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 no. I didn't
Oh,
say Betty. I said my BFF,
oh, his bestie. His
my
bestie.
bestie,
Oh, Betsy.
bestie. I did not say Betty. Uh, but it's amazing how that we're so goofy with each other. You know that people be like, "Yo, y'all are some cool people to actually be around." And it's like, since when did y'all get stuck up on on our life? So, but we've got both sides of that. Sometimes we got the extra haters.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes it may not mean that you are compatible as far as mates, but then sometimes it may be. It just depends on how comfortable you are with that person. I think that it goes back to, sometimes we can be too serious, we can be too, women can, sisters can be some serious people. We gotta learn how to laugh. Yeah, the jokes, is you can be silly. Just be silly. Well, I don't find nothing funny. You know, Sometimes you gotta let your hair down, and you have to allow that person to see
Mhm.
you outside of all of the mask and everything. It's times when we just make jokes, or we're just laughing just to be laughing, just to have fun, because that's what we do when we're in relationship with people. But
Yeah,
we find that hard to do when we're in the relationship with the person we're married to. All of
right.
a sudden, we become super serious people,
Mm-hmm.
and now we become programmed, and now we have certain times we conversate, certain times we eat together. Well, what do you want to do today? Well, we didn't used to be that way. We used to just be like, you want to go here? Let's go.
Yeah, but
Mhm.
Derek is asking a specific question. What do, around a person, so that they can see the relationship that
An
you have. Have
example.
any of
Being
you,
an
yeah,
example.
being
Okay.
an example? And I can honestly and truthfully say that my husband and I are, because when we're out, we enjoy one another. I mean, we don't have to act silly. We don't have to act any specific way, but we enjoy the quality time with each other beyond what you could ever imagine. We don't even think about anything, like Yvonne and said about her and Derek. My husband and I, we just don't argue. We just don't argue. Our arguing days and all that stuff is over.
No.
That's over. We are so in love until we don't even think about. We can't even think about what we argue about. But it took time to get there. It took time to get to the place where we are now. We got married very young and a child on the way. So a lot of things take place in a marriage, but you work out the kinks. But the key to it is, someone asked me this the other day, in fact, an attorney. He said, I can't believe that you and your husband are sharing 58 years. What's your secret? And I said, Jesus. He sent me a text back and said, love. And it's
Oh,
true. It's
yeah.
love.
Yes. Yes. You know,
And me and my husband, as far as setting an example, I'm going to say this, it's not that we tried to set an example, we just became the example.
Yes.
And
That's
so
it.
we became the example in who we are. This is
Mhm.
just who we are. And I think about in the beginning of our marriage, we were around, of course, because married couples, when you're newlyweds, you want to hang around other married couples. And so that's what we did. But when you hang around other married couples, you're like, that's not how we want to be. You're like, we definitely don't want to be like that. Because we, in the beginning of our marriage, we did try to find couples to look up to. However, out of the 4 couples that we actually hung around, only 2 of us are still married. And then I had my sister, who I had looked up to in her marriage because her and her husband had already been married. But like I was saying earlier, we never did try to set out to be the example. Like I said, we just became the example, and we are who we are. There's no pretending, there's no faking. If there's a disagreement, we're going to have a disagreement, and we'll deal with it. And then it's like you said, and keep it moving.
Yeah. I can definitely say that if there's not if couples, if other people don't notice that you're having a blissful marriage, then there's something wrong with your marriage,
That's true.
That's right.
because it should be noticeable. It
Yep.
should be
Right.
something that people notice instantly about your marriage. And yeah, I'm going to end my comment right there.
Oh, can I say this real quick? This is something I love to do. When I go to restaurants, I love to look at couples. I love looking at them. And 9 times out of 10, when I see couples, this is them on their phone. I don't even see couples communicating. And
Mhm.
that's something we'll do. And we'll be like, look at them, just watching people, how it's like, wow, they're not even talking. And of course, you can't really base it off of
No, you
that.
can't. Mm-mm.
But I do look at that, how
Mhm.
couples interact in public.
Yes.
And
Yes.
then I love to see older couples because I'm like, oh, that's me and Johnny down the road, especially elderly couples and
Right.
in their 80s or in their 90s. And I'm like, oh, look at us. When we get that age, it's like, this is what we have to look forward to.
Hmm.
Yes. Yes. I often walking through the mall, I see a very uh, older couple than my husband and they're holding hands. And I walk up to them and I say, you know what? This is a candid camera moment.
It
I mean,
is.
it's so exciting. It really is exciting to see an older couple still holding hands and so forth and so on. So you know that there's some peace in that home. They're still happy, probably been married a whole lot of years. And that is awesome. That
It
is awesome.
is.
You have to
I,
keep the fire burning because if you don't, it will go out.
I
Yes, it
think that
will.
the thing is when you talk about, and it was a question that I think Derek asked, and I don't know if we really answered his question, because a lot of times the pressure is different with the young people today, and sometimes they don't see the example of what they like when we were growing up. We didn't see a lot of people, whether in the church, out of the church. One thing that we didn't see was a lot of affection. We didn't see open
That's
affection.
true.
We didn't see a lot of holding hands, and we didn't see the kissing, the hugging, and all of that.
That's true.
Now you're dealing with a generation that they're very physical, so you have to show that physical, and I'm not talking about perversion. I'm talking about natural love. It's okay to kiss in public. It's okay to hold hands in public. It's okay to walk and have your arm around each other, because young people need to see that. They need to see relationship. They need to see the example of what relationship really is. They need to see you having fun. They need to see you not arguing all the time, and you just joking around, and you just doing silly things, because now they're so impressionable with the negative we have to show them the positive, because if not, they're not going to know how to build the relationship, because all they're taught is the negative. We have to show them, hey, this is my baby, this is my boo, this is my sweetheart, this is who this person is to me. But a lot of times we are not setting that example because they don't see it in us, so they don't know how to even treat each other because they don't see us doing it. It goes past the opening the door and all of those are just that's just the basic stuff. But how do you actually get along with the person that you're with? How does a man adore his wife? How does a wife compliment her husband? How you in this economy, both people are going to be working. The majority of the people, husband and wife, are going to be working. They have to see you working together as a team. How does that work? It's not about just the woman cleaning or she fussing at him because he didn't clean. Does that really matter? There's things that I do, there's things that my husband does, but at the same time, we have to model for young people because they want to see, how is it working? How does this relationship thing work? Because if not, it's really going to be a lost situation, because a lot of us have already been in marriage 1, 2, 3. I'm gonna stop there.
Okay, and I can go back to, because and while you were talking, I actually thought about it, because no, me and my husband, we did set the example to be the example for other married couples, because one, they actually had lived with us for a period of time, and we were trying to mentor them, and I was trying to mentor the female, and I tried to give her constructive criticism. At the time, it was not accepted, but then later on the road it was. And it was, when your husband come home, because he's been at work all day and you've been home, and ABCD. And so we did try to model that out, and then we also set the example for our children. And my husband telling the boys, sons, when you get a wife, ABCD, and me teaching Jemiah and showing her. And then he also is teaching her how a husband should love a wife. So no, that is something that we have done. And it's coaching, teaching, and mentoring them through the process and telling them, hey, this is how you do it. And our kids have been able to see, more so Jemiah than anything, being able to see how we handle things when there is a disagreement, when there isn't a disagreement, when we interact with other people, when we interact with one another. And so we're setting the example for her. And so what she's able to do is formulate, and she already has in her mind what a husband should look like.
Mm-hmm. And I can say the same thing, Pastor Mel, because my husband and I, we are living examples. My husband likes to golf. Mm-hmm. What did I do? I took up golfing.
Right.
Because we needed to do something together, have a common interest, and it's amazing. Mm-hmm. So there are things that I like to do, and he'll come, and I like to watch movies. He'll sit down and watch. He knows I like to watch movies over and over and over. We watched the Color Girl movie, and I know he wasn't interested. And he said, "Babe, what you gonna watch tonight?" I said, "For Color Girls." He said, "Okay." He sat up on that bed, watched Color Girls for Color Girls, and he really enjoyed it. So he knows what I like. I know what he likes. That's setting an example.
It is.
When you're out, you can tell when people are happy in their home, because they're out to dinner. They don't look at each other. There's no eye contact. There's no nothing. No nothing. You don't have to sit there and be chatty Cathy. Right. But there has to be some kind of sign that you see they love to be in each other's presence, and that's important.
Agreed.
That's important.
Agreed.
And I tell it everywhere I go, and the bedroom hasn't stopped.
Right.
After 58 years, it's still
I know fresh. That's right.
Still
I
fresh.
know that's right.
That's right. You have to let people know that.
That's what Pastor B doing. If you only see what he does to me,
you have to tell young people that.
Hey, V, it is okay to hear your parents say that. It is
That's right.
okay.
It's
You
That's right.
should
beautiful.
be here. As a matter of
Because
fact, it's healthy. It's healthy that you hear that.
That's right.
my
And
dad used to say this: the older the berry, the blacker the juice. And my dad was a stickler for saying, and that grew up in me. Don't stop it. Don't stop
That's
it.
right. Don't. That's right.
TMI, Mom. TMI.
no, it's not.
True.
No, it's not. Look, they need to hear this. They need
They
to,
need to hear it.
that's
Because
the issue.
now in this age, by the time a woman reaches 40, 45, she's closed up shop. No.
Oh no, she done lost her mind.
No.
Look, I'm telling you,
The
hey,
older you get, the more you should know. Am
Thank
I right,
you.
Pastor Mel?
That's right.
The older you get, the more you should know.
That's true.
That's it.
That is true.
That's what Derek meant when he said, read the book. So read
Yes.
the book.
My mom owned one. Yes. Yes. So, well, y'all, this has been a really great topic. As usual, this has been a really great topic. So, Pastor Mel, what's your final word?
Work together. It's all about teamwork.
Yeah.
Dr. Bennett?
Keep the fire going, and it'll never go out.
Amen.
Dr.
Isaac?
you got to
know what?
coordinate. You got to coordinate. Hey, look, I'm going back to John Witherspoon. You got to coordinate. You got to coordinate.
I know that's right.
I'm going to say the main important thing is let go of your hurts, habits,
Yes.
and hang-ups.
Mm.
If you can do that, man, you can have any successful relationship. You just got to let it go and be yourself.
Yeah.
Amen.
That's right.
Derek, you have a final word.
No.
You got fire.
Yeah. All
That's
right.
it.
All right. Well, everybody, we went a little over our time tonight, but you have been watching Breaking the Silence, and I am your host, Lady V. You have Dr. Yvonne Bennett, you have Pastor Melanie Butler, and Dr. Isaac Davis, and Pastor AT. He had to drop off because it was his night to do a youth teaching. So might pop in and hear what he got to say, but. This has been a great topic. We've been talking about the Black man, the Black woman. It's a thin line between love and hate. My encouraging words is love the one you with. And if it's not the one you're supposed to be with, man, make a different choice. Okay. I'm not going to say get a divorce because, don't want to say that. But you may have to reassess some values and views on the situation. But we are on Facebook, we're on Instagram, we are on YouTube every single Tuesday at 6:00. We also are viewed in the Caribbean, and soon we will be on the television somewhere in the United States. I'm not sure where, but stay tuned. But this has been a wonderful show. Thank you so much for your comments. I thank my husband for his comments. Mom, I love you, even though you sometimes put a bug in my ear. Love you. Y'all all right with me. Because I've been with y'all.
In your pocket and keep it, right?
Been with y'all since the beginning. So it's all right. It's all right. But we really want you to come on and feel free to share. You're also able to share in the comments after the show. I think Derek said, great job, Cass. Thank you very much. Well, we have to go, but until next week on Tuesday at 6:00, always remember, you have a voice. Good night, y'all.
Good night.
Good night, everyone.
Good night.